Let's talk about the impact of inflation and oil prices on your business. This is something that you some may be able to pass on to consumers, or to what extent are you sensitive about this? We are seeing quite high oil prices right now, especially with the global recovery and some supply issues as well. Even the BSP governor is now, looking at it quite closely. To what extent can you even control this in your supply chain, and to what extent are you hedged against this?
Okay, so in general, any increase or decrease, as long as it's steady and stable, should be manageable. What's going to be very challenging for us and very difficult would be if you see heightened volatilities in the movements of oil prices. So if you recall, around the same time last year, at one point, the prices of oil reached negative territory. And then you see all these wild swings within a day. So that's a very difficult scenario for us. But that's not what we're seeing currently. I mean, the increase in prices are mainly driven by, as you mentioned, recovery in demand. Now, in general, prices here in the Philippines, since it's a free market, we adjust prices weekly. That's the industry standard. We adjust prices weekly based on the average of the prior week's prices.
Let's talk about Dennis Oy, of course, is the owner
Mm-hmm.
of Phoenix, and they have another subsidiary has invested for that specs stake in Malampaya. But you have said explicitly that you have no manifest interest in buying the natural gas. What do you mean by this? A lot of market watchers were excited about how Phoenix could be benefiting from this deal.
Okay, so to answer your question on specs, now, again, as you mentioned, it's a separate subsidiary, so we are not part of the transaction and we are also not privy to the transaction. In terms of the bank gas, yes, we confirm that there is no interest on the part of the company to purchase PNOC's bank gas. Our focus currently is on our core businesses, growing our core businesses, and long term to pivot to retail or our consumer facing businesses.
Finally, you had already mentioned that you're streamlining and trying to fix your balance sheet. You had also announced that you're looking into specific assets that you might be selling to refinance your debt. Can you explain or nuance this a little bit better, and how that would affect your operations, if so?
Okay, so just to give you a context, on a regular basis, we look at our portfolio and see which assets are non-critical and which assets can be monetized without compromising our growth strategy. As I mentioned, our focus really is on pivoting to retail because that's where we see growth in the long term. And these activities of looking to monetize our assets is nothing out of the ordinary.